Hi guys, and welcome to this video on the new moon in Virgo that happens on the 7th of September 2021 at 1:51 in the morning, and that's based on Europe time. Thank you for joining me. It's a pleasure to be with you today. The chart you see next to me is a snapshot of the sky at the moment this new moon happens. I'm going to have a look at the chart, see what energy it creates and what this new moon offers you in terms of opportunities and things that you can plan for and things that you can assess. The new moon in itself is when the sun and the moon, they conjunct one another, so they sit on top of one another in terms of the chart, and the moon goes pitch black. And that's the time when the moon goes inward, it recharges its batteries and it says, what am I going to focus on for the next cycle? What is important to me now? So it's kind of like a time out. It's like the Four of Swords in the tarot, where you take a little bit of time to say, okay, I've been very active. What do I want to focus on in future? So it's a time to kind of regroup and to assess things. And this new moon is in Virgo, which is the sign that has to do with analysis and being grounded and practical and making sense of things. So it's perfect that this new moon is in Virgo, because not only are you able to recharge your batteries and to kind of reflect, to become contemplative, but if you do meditate on what's going on and if you do ask those questions, you'll get a lot of answers. Virgo really helps you with that. Now the new moon is at 14 degrees. 1 and 4 is 5, and 5 in numerology is about freedom. And here it's freedom through understanding. So if there are things that, and I mentioned this in the weekly horoscope as well for Tuesday, if there are things in your life that you haven't been able to get your head around, or you haven't been able to understand them, or it just, what do I do about this? How can I jump over my own shadow to gain some understanding here? Asking those questions during this new moon in Virgo will be super, super helpful and will offer up a lot of information that you can use in a practical way. So it's a very, very good opportunity to contemplate what's going on in your life, because you get a lot of answers. So the new moon then opposes Neptune at 21 degrees in Pisces on the other side of the chart. Neptune is an outer planet. It's in the sign that it rules, Pisces. So it really opens up your imagination. It heightens your intuition. So you're able to source information from lots of different areas in your life. Virgo and Pisces are on the same axis, okay? And Virgo likes to make sense of the world through practical information. Through what you see is what you get, okay? You're an accountant, so you must be very good with numbers. It's very black and white. Neptune sources its information from spirit. So I meditate, I get a message from source. I'm going to make sense of that. I'm going to use it. And that's what I use as the info that informs my actions. And with this opposition, Neptune being at 21 degrees in Pisces, 2 and 1 is 3, communication, the mind, new beginnings, you're really able to look at the real world and say, what is important here? What can I make sense of? What can I analyze? But also, what am I feeling? And what am I being told from source? And how can I make sense of that? So you're really taking care of yourself spiritually, emotionally, practically, and you're able to look at each one of those areas and to get information, or all of those areas. So if you struggle emotionally, why have I got these feelings? What is this anxiety about, or this anger about, or this depression about? You'll get an answer. Why is my job not enjoyable? Why have I been in a situation where I'm not using my gifts and talents? Asking yourself those kind of tough questions, you'll also get a lot of information, you'll get a lot of answers, which then allow you to make changes in your work. So emotionally, practically, spiritually, if you feel like life has little meaning, you're not feeling the love, you're not feeling the joy, same thing. Why is this happening? Why do I feel like I'm completely isolated, and how can I change that? Now, those are tough questions, and most of us don't like to ask them, because usually it will bring up a lot of negative emotions. So a lot of us kind of don't like to feel our own feelings, kind of dismiss those things. And a lot of people will go to great lengths to avoid their own emotions. On this day, you have the patience and the presence of mind to look within and to say, hey, actually, if I do a personal inventory, or if I ask myself the tough questions, I'll actually get something out of it, and I can then make changes based on that information. So it's the ideal day to gain a better understanding of yourself, what makes you tick, what your part is in certain situations, and it will be hugely empowering because you get to know yourself better. And also, the most important thing, you don't feel like certain things about you are beyond your control. You'll see ways of dealing with behaviors or thoughts or beliefs and how you can amend those and get them to work in your favor. Now, the new moon forms a trine with Uranus in Taurus at 14 degrees. So we've got another 14 here. So freedom is a big theme. And the new moon in Virgo is like a meaning-making machine, okay? It sits there and it says, let's analyze, let's get the message. And Uranus is the miraculous and the unexpected and the chaotic and the eccentric and those things in life which really don't make sense and which you can't predict. It's in Taurus, so things in your life particularly, which have continued to elude you for a long time, suddenly appear, and it's like, here's the answer. There's the total. Ta-da! Let me hand things to you on a silver platter. So you're really like a brainiac in the sense that things that haven't been clear suddenly are very, very, very clear. And then with all the earth, and the strongest element in the chart is earth, you're immediately able to translate that info and those insights into actions, which is amazing. Then we don't have any more aspects with the moon. I'm just looking to double check. But no, we don't. So the moon opposes Neptune and it trines Uranus. Wow. So it's very, very straightforward. And this is rare, okay? Usually a new moon or a full moon, they create, they form aspects with lots and lots of things, creating a particular mood. But because we've only got really 4 things being influenced here, the 2 luminaries, the sun and the moon, outer planets Neptune and Uranus, it's very much about taking the analytical talent and applying it to things which don't make sense and which are abstract and which don't have a physical form or shape, particularly those things which seem chaotic and nonsensical. So it's really a PhD day of understanding and being able to suss out the meaning of things which are very, very complicated. So we have some major aspect patterns in the chart, and that's interesting. So first of all, if you tilt your head a little bit, you'll see the big blue triangle. It's made up of 3 trines, and it creates a big blue triangle known as a grand trine. And a grand trine in a chart indicates an area of real talent. Now, this grand trine doesn't affect the moon, it doesn't touch the moon, but it's in the chart, so it's part of the energy. It connects Mercury at 10 degrees in Libra, with Black Moon Lilith at 5 degrees in Gemini, and Saturn at 7 degrees in Aquarius. So it's a grand trine in the element of air, a masculine element, which allows you to think clearly, communicate effectively, have a very solid perspective on things, and it heightens and improves understanding. Wow. So not only does the new moon in Virgo make you a meaning-making machine, this grand trine in air gives you a real talent for understanding abstract information, particularly as it applies to the way you think. So Mercury at 10 degrees in Libra opens you up when it comes to relationships, and you're able to present yourself very well, and there's a lot of harmony, and you're able to speak beautifully. So if you're a poet, great day to write a new one. Black Moon Lilith at 5 degrees in Gemini is interesting because that says don't share everything that you're thinking and feeling with other people. Zip it. So it's the opposite of Mercury in Libra. And Black Moon Lilith in the chart is often, the way I interpret Black Moon Lilith and Chiron in the chart, is that those are the two parts of the chart where your ego tries to sabotage you, okay? So Black Moon Lilith at 5 degrees in Gemini says, don't speak up, don't speak your truth because it may get you into trouble. And I mean, this is a bit much, but even to the extent your freedom may be impacted. So clam up like a little shell and don't say anything. Become a little hermit crab at the bottom of the sea. Reading between the lines there, if the ego is so interested in you being quiet, then the real meaning is that if you do speak up, if you do get creative, if you do write, if you do make create poetry or music or art, then it will give you freedom. And then with Saturn at 7 degrees in Aquarius, you know what it is you're looking for. You're complete in yourself, you have the right ideas, you're creative, your perspective is super on point, so you feel solid in expressing things, and the actual truth is that you won't lose your freedom or that you won't have negative circumstances arise as a result of speaking your truth. The reality is that it will secure you and it will actually give you more freedom. So that's the big talent here. That's so big that the ego actually steps in and tries to shut it down. If you want to express something that's important to you, do it on this day. It's going to create more security, not more chaos or fear. Then we have something very interesting in the chart. If you look a different way, we've got something called a mystic rectangle. And that's this big blue rectangle, obviously, in the chart. It's made up of two sextiles, so the things on the side, and two trines, creating this big blue rectangle. And a mystic rectangle is what it says, the name says it all, right? It gives you a sort of mysticism because you are so connected to the higher realms. And I already mentioned that with Neptune at 21 degrees in Pisces, giving you access to the imagination and the spiritual. So we've got things repeating themselves in this chart for the new moon. And when that happens in a chart, it's like a groove in a record. The more you play that one groove, the more entrenched it becomes, and it's difficult to get out of. But it really gives you an amazing focus on particular areas of life. So understanding and sourcing stuff from different places. But then with the mystic rectangle, you have this supernatural ability to take the messages you get seriously and to have this built-in certainty that I am not making this up. This is true. This is what's happening. So you're not questioning yourself. And I think that's why Black Moon Lilith and the ego is working so hard to keep you quiet, because you really have the most amazing epiphany moments. You really get it on the 7th of September. And of course, if you really do understand things, and if you speaking up can change your whole life, then of course the ego doesn't want you to do that. So this mystic rectangle combines the rising sign, so the ascendant, in Leo at 5 degrees, with again Black Moon Lilith in Gemini at 5 degrees. Freedom, freedom, freedom. Speak for freedom. Put yourself out there to get more freedom in your life, or to feel a sense of freedom. I'm free to say what I want. I'm free to have a good time. I'm free. I can put myself out there, enjoy life, and have a good time. Black Moon Lilith then trines Saturn in Aquarius at 7 degrees. Certainty and a self-belief in the information that's coming through. And it connects the South Node at 5 degrees in Sagittarius. So all of your experiences, all of your past, all of the things that you've already gone through, even those things you'll be able to assess and make sense of, and to see why certain things have happened and what the silver lining in those things are, and how you can, what you've learned and benefited from. The example that comes to mind with that is, if you've been through something really, really difficult in your life, if you've gone through an addiction or a mental health problem or abuse or anything like that, once you get out of that and once you're on the other side, that's always going to be with you in the sense of, I survived that, so how bad can this be? Or if I got through that, then I'll be able to get through this too. So that South Node in Sag at 5 degrees gives you an even greater sense of self-reliance and appreciation for the self and how hard you work to create a wonderful life for yourself. So it's really like a, well done you. It's real compassion for yourself combined with all this ability to understand and to make meaning. So it's really a game changer. And if you're not satisfied in any area of your life, like I said earlier, spiritually, emotionally, practically, you're able to look at those things and to feel empowered to make changes. Wow. Okay, I'm just going to see if there's anything else here. Okay, so let's see. Mercury in Libra opposes Chiron at 11 degrees in Aries. That's interesting. So you can be very creative and articulate things very, very well. But Chiron at 11 degrees in Aries says, be of service to other people. Use the creative energy not to articulate or to create, but use it to help others. And again, that distracts you from your purpose and this ability to free yourself on this day by squandering the energy and giving it to others. This is a great day for personal insight and contemplation, right? So if you're busy running around on this day, making it okay for everybody else, then that's what could potentially waste this opportunity. And Chiron, being the other part of the ego, wants you to waste this opportunity. So both Black Moon Lilith and Chiron are saying, be quiet and focus on others and help them. Don't help yourself. So do the opposite. Open up, articulate what you're thinking and feeling, communicate, and be of service to yourself. And that may sound selfish, but it isn't, because let's say you are a great artist, okay? And you say, on this day, I'm really gonna take a few hours to create something wonderful because I feel inspired. You're creating something which will make you feel good. But then if it's a beautiful masterpiece and you hang it up or exhibit it in a gallery, then other people will benefit from that, because if it's a beautiful picture and they hang it in their house will look better as a result of your work and you being of service to you. So really don't go into guilt mode or I'm being selfish mode, but I really think it's unlikely that you're going to do that anyway because of Saturn sitting on the descendant. The descendant is what you're looking to get. It's what you're working towards or what you'd like to come into your life. And with Saturn sitting there, it's kind of like, I'm fine. I don't need anything else. I'm complete. I'm rock solid. I can rely on myself. And I don't need to acquire anything to be okay. And that's huge because most of us feel like, well, if I get the right job, then I'll be happy. Or if I find the boyfriend, then I'll be happy. There's none of that today. They're saying you're a perfect unit. You've got everything that you need. And if you look within a little bit, you'll understand even more and you'll have greater freedom and you won't be so burdened. Wow. And that's a recipe to actually be able to enjoy life, because if you get a bill or something and it totally crushes you and you just feel overwhelmed, then your circumstances are kind of controlling you. But if you look at life of, okay, this is a bill, I'll take care of this. It's not a life-changing event here. I'll be able to deal with this and maintain my positivity and sense of freedom. Then that's much more appropriate. You're dealing with things and not letting them affect you, and you're transcending them, rising above them, and moving on with your life. And that's what this is, the ability to rise above anything that's problematic, to understand it, then to rise above it, and to have a good time. Anything else? Oh, Mercury in Libra sesqui squares, so it's 135 degrees away from Jupiter, the lucky planet, at 24 degrees in Aquarius. So your ideas have the potential to really boom, go big and expand and grow massively. So that makes it a good time to launch a work that you've been involved with creatively. It's a great, especially if it's something that involves you teaching others or sharing a message. It's an opportunity to really hit with that message, to get your point across and to have other people hear it. So if you've got a job, if you are working on something, but no one knows you exist, if there's no recognition of what you're doing, if you find that no one hears what you're saying, this really gives you an opportunity to put something out there, to be found, and to have other people engage with what you're presenting. So if that's your struggle, that no one knows what you're doing and you would like people to pay attention, then use this day to get some attention from others. And that's it. Not quite. The rising in Leo, sesqui squares Neptune in Pisces at 21 degrees. So you're a legend in your own mind, and that's useful because you can see the potential of how free you can be and how well you can do. More confidence, more courage. So it looks like a fabulous opportunity. I hope you have a wonderful day. If you would like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on book your reading to audio reading with me. The way I've drawn up this chart that you see next to me, I draw up your chart in my personal reading. So I take your date of birth, your time of birth, your place of birth, and that gives me your natal chart. And then I can read that the way I've read this chart. But rather than being general, it applies to you specifically. And the way the chart was at the moment you were born has an impact on you for the rest of your life. So if you feel like you don't understand yourself, if you have no direction, you don't know what you're doing, then having a chart analysis can be very, very useful. So if you would like to do that, then please do get in touch. It's gregoryscott.com. Click on book your reading to audio reading. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and share the video online. I hope you have a fabulous time here during this new moon, and I'll speak to you soon. All the best.